Welcome to the Milwaukee Mile 250 for qualifying ahead of tomorrow's exciting race. The challenges are all lined up. Track temperature at 109 Fahrenheit, 54% humidity, 82 Fahrenheit, with mostly sunny skies. It's a perfect day for qualifying. Let's check in with our colleagues Will Buxton, Townsend Bell, alongside James Hinchcliffe.
Circuit here in Wisconsin. The weather's pretty glorious right now. Pretty warm out there. 77 degrees. Track temp up at 108 degrees. We have 2 short track ovals to finish the season. And before we race on Sunday first, we must qualify 2 laps around this 1 mile oval to set the grid for the penultimate race of the season. Will Buxton, Townsend Bell, and James Hinchcliffe with you as always. Guys, we've had a practice session this morning. Interestingly, 3 Penske's looking very racy out there at the end of what has been a difficult season for them.
It has, but in every short oval, Penske has been the measure. Suddenly, you guys got taller, by the way.
I think you got
really
shorter.
Interesting how this is playing out. But Team Penske, just as strong as they appeared at Iowa, at Gateway, and they have come to fight once again for their first oval win of the season. But qualifying here at Milwaukee, let's face it, it is, if you've ever stood in the backyard, had the rock at the end of the string and start whipping that thing around, that's the challenge right now for 2 laps. And if that string breaks or you lose traction, this place is punishing.
And look, you can make up positions here in the race. Both lanes do work. We get some great side-by-side action. But Townsend, if you can start up front, it does make your day that much easier. And I've got eyes on Joseph Newgarden already. He was quick in practice. He's led 329 laps on ovals this year without a win. Largely without, or not from his own doing. He's had a couple great opportunities at Gateway and at Iowa. I think he really wants to get that duck off his back after what his teammate Will Power did last time out in Portland.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all shakes out. Will we get some surprises? Some drivers yet to win an IndyCar race who have looked phenomenal on ovals this season could just make their way up to the top positions.
Let's stay with international feed and rejoin our colleagues as we get ready to go racing.
Well, that was something new. Do you remember the Dorf on Golf series? It was like Dorf on IndyCar.
No, I can't say.
Might be dating myself a little bit. You guys look that up if you're at home.
Date yourself, and I also am not a big golf guy, so I'm not the target audience for that.
Yeah, it was comedy entertainment. Tim Conway back in the day. Suddenly I went from 6 feet to about, what, 5'6", would you give me? 5'5"?
Hinge, you proclaim not to be a coffee guy, and yet you're on multiple espressos a day. We will make a golf guy of you yet. I always said I wasn't a golf guy, and I've been playing for like 3 years now. I love it.
But here's the difference. I am not a coffee guy. I drink espresso occasionally to get the quick boost of caffeine because I need the caffeine. Golf doesn't give me anything I need, so I'm not going to become a golf guy.
It is a good workout. It's a good
Do that at the gym?
I shot a 99 on Wednesday. Done. Yeah, I mean, break 100, it's not bad. I mean, I birdied a par 5. What do I golf 3 times a year? I was stoked.
Hinch, once you start playing, you will get addicted.
That's why I won't start.
Anyway.
It's a beautiful thing.
Let's talk IndyCar. Let's talk qualifying. This first group, everyone going out in reverse championship order.
Should we call this golf style? Marcus Ericsson contemplating turn 1. It's about 150 yards from the apex. Wind picked up a little bit. I think he's gonna use a Delar for this shot.
Wants a nice draw through the opening 200 yards. Anyway, nice livery on Jacob Abel's car this weekend.
Yeah, I like the way we do it better.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would be appropriate.
It's not great.
On a fast and furious short oval.
Hello, international crew. Thanks for bearing with us.
Provided you are still, in fact, bearing with us and you haven't tuned out completely.
Or gone to play golf. Oh, nice. He's brought back the retro lid as well.
That's called a mullet. Oh, you meant the driver.
Well, we're back at the Milwaukee Mile. Jacob Abel will be the first driver out on track in a beautiful new livery this weekend. Very fitting for being here in Milwaukee. Now, the slowest driver during practice was Louis Foster. He only got 3 laps on the board. Had to have an engine change. Georgia standing by with him.
Louis Foster, 5th out to qualify, did not get to turn any laps in practice earlier today. That being said, fresh engine in the 45 car. How do you approach qualifying?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky, not only not doing laps, but obviously a new engine as well. So on the fly, we're going to have to figure out which mix is going to be best for it. So messing around with buttons on the wheel isn't fun in qualifying at any time, but also when I'm also trying to learn the car, the track, the setup, and everything. So it'll be tough, but the Rahal guys have got a good car. I mean, Graham was 5th in the opening practice, and he's confident with the car. He's given me some handy tips as to what he's feeling and what he thinks I should expect. So yeah, we'll give it our best run. I'll drive the car as hard as I can drive it, and we'll see where we end up.
Big effort from the team getting that engine in between practice and qualifying today, guys.
Anything better than 27th for Louis Foster in this session will be quite the result for him.
Now, I chatted to him after practice, and this team did come and test, so he does have a few laps around here, but only getting 3 laps of practice before heading into qualifying, Townsend. That's a tall order for any driver, and with that engine change, he's going to have a penalty anyway. So
that's the worst part of it, is the mixture adjustment that Louis Foster will have to make.
Yeah, but here we go then. We are underway for this session. Drivers are now heading out onto the circuit. Jacob Abel is the first out here on the run, and hopefully he's going to set his benchmark time on the list as well. It's hard to tell where's where actually on the overall monitor. First lap time coming through then, and Abel starts his run and over a warm-up speed of 154.261 mile an hour. So hopefully he'll be able to change that delta up quite quickly. Just lose it back ever so slightly. 2 qualifying lap times to contend with out here as well today. First lap time for Jacob Abel. Takes the white flag. It's a 156.139. He's tight through 1 and 2. Good exit up towards the barrier. 45% of hybrid power left as well as he comes over the line. And Jacob Abel, in this segment of qualifying, 2 lap times he's done completed, takes over the line, and his second lap speed is a 157.061, averages out 156.599, and that is our benchmarker here for qualifying as we start. Next up, Devlin DeFrancesco.
It was a 55.8, so solid run for the 50.
Next up, Devlin DeFrancesco, 15th fastest in practice. The Rahal team not overly confident coming onto the ovals at the end of the season. They have been road course specialists this year, but Dev and Graham both looking pretty impressive.
And again, I think this team coming here and testing a few weeks back is going to pay huge dividends here with only an hour of practice. That was interrupted by a few stoppages for track inspections and cut tires. So this team, these drivers by far have the most kind of relevant and recent track experience here, and hopefully that'll translate.
And I already see progress, guys, in practice. If you look back to Gateway and both Iowa races, DeFrancesco 23rd at Gateway, 19th in Iowa 1, 25th in Iowa 2. Graham Rahal finishing several laps down on the short ovals as well, really struggling as an organization. They're already looking so much more comfortable and confident just in practice. DeFrancesco 15th, Graham Rahal was up in 6th. Big opportunity to right the ship here on the short ovals to close out the season.
Decently back to throttle, pretty quick, pretty.
And look at the warm-up speed.
Confident.
Wow, 158.4. That would put DeFrancesco, you know, right at 14th or 15th on practice speed. Let's see what we can do here. Solid.
It's a 159.
Wow, good lap
for
time.
lap 1 for Devlin DeFrancesco. 161.0 is Townsend saying. The best from Joseph Newgarden just for the single lap in practice.
See that 172 miles an hour turning into turn 3 before he cracks the throttle. But again, Townsend looks confident getting back on the power.
Over the line then, and Devlin does a 159.047 as an average lap time, takes it over as provisional top.
Average of 159.0. So for me, can they hold together on race trim over a 60-lap stint and try to finish on the lead lap? That'd be huge progress tomorrow.
Yeah, massive. It is so difficult to stay on the lead lap here. Such a short track, just over 1 mile in length. Next up to attempt it, Stingray Rob. And guys, this is very unusual for an oval track in that it drives more like a street course.
You know, we say it has no banking, but 9 degrees.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but it sure looks like nothing and feels like nothing when you're out there.
I think that's the big one, is the feel from inside the car. You don't drive down the front straight, looking to turn one and see a wall of asphalt like you do at a high-banked oval, call it a Texas or an Iowa. Here, it really does just look like, you know, turn 11 in Mid-Ohio.
And that's what makes this place so intimidating, Will, is if something goes wrong, you just go off on a vector, hard vector into the wall. There's no banking to sort of take your glass ball, your marble, and kind of roll it through the cereal bowl, if you know what I mean. It just sings off with very unforgiving angle.
As we were saying, 2 flying laps here. It means you get the lap out of the pit. You get 1 warm-up lap and then into your 2 flyers. But as you were intonating there, Townsend, not great through 1 and 2.
No, that was a bit of a rough throttle trace there. Struggled to get back to it. Looks like in 1 and 2 at least, battling the front end. Just doesn't have that grip to kind of pinch it down in the second part of the corner.
I mean, solid warm-up speed, though, to 158.2. Goes a tick quicker there.
You can just see his confidence getting back to throttle, nothing like what we saw at DeFrancesco earlier.
So how much time will he bleed in the second lap? There's a 158 on the first. Needs to get above a 156.5 to out-qualify Jacob Abel. And for Stingray Rob, it is a 158.1 average. Georgia, what are conditions like down there on track?
Well, Will, it is beautiful outside today. The only thing that really sticks out to me is there are huge wind gusts very randomly down here. It seems like it would really affect drivers going into turn 1 the most. I talked to a couple drivers about it. They said they are conscious of it. They are going to be looking for it, but they're so inconsistent and very random down here. But they are strong. They almost knock you off your feet. So my question is, how is this going to affect guys when they're so random?
I mean, greatly. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we talk about wind a lot. You have those windsocks on the pylon and the turn 3 grandstands. Here at Milwaukee, no obvious flags for drivers to kind of get any sort of bearing as to wind direction, wind speed. It looks like it's a pretty consistent tailwind into turn 1, so that sort of backs up what you were saying there, Georgia, in terms of it kind of affecting the drivers down in that section of the racetrack.
Robert Schwartzman out on track, the man who took pole position on his very first visit to an oval at the Indianapolis 500. Everyone was expecting him to really come into his own on street and road courses this year. It's actually been the ovals where he's fared the best. His 2 top 10 finishes have come on ovals at Gateway and Iowa. His pole position came at the Indianapolis 500.
Sun popping out in full force here. I'm keeping an eye on track temp. It's up about 10 degrees over practice, and that's another challenge. Is a lot of the drivers will be reevaluating the feel here as the temperatures rise. And you see in the throttle trace there as Schwartzman, a lot like what we saw from Stingray White, chasing the throttle pedal, just not trusting the right rear on power down.
Did you hear a bit of a, I think it was pinging off the rev limiter there. Getting the gearing right is such an important part of oval qualifying, using every inch of racetrack on the exit of 2.
Looked a lot better, Will, at the exit of 2 than it did the first lap. He's struggling a little bit more at this end.
Through the final corner then for Robert Schwartzman, 158.1 for the first lap. For the second, it is a 157.8. That moves him ahead of Abel, but not ahead of Stingray Rob. And that is not the kind of performance that we're used to seeing from Robert Schwartzman on the ovals this season.
His big competitor for Rookie of the Year is up next, but fighting from his back foot to start here. Louis Foster in the 45 is going to have to recalibrate engine map settings for an engine replacement and try to calibrate himself to the track and conditions after missing basically all of practice.
Guys, so often in IndyCar and so often this year, we've seen drivers coming into qualifying on an oval track, having not had an immediate session beforehand in practice. Now, more often than not, that's been through a crash, an incident that they've had during that practice session. Would you rather come in having had a fast car that unfortunately you've made a mistake with and put in the wall, or, as Louis Foster has, absolutely no running at all? Neither of them are ultimately where you want to be, but which one is more beneficial?
Before you crash, did you get 20 laps, 25 laps in?
Let's say yes.
Then yes, that's still what you want. You want to know relevant conditions. Drivers are really good at putting crashes out of their minds and forgetting that they made a mistake a few hours ago and moving on.
156 for the warm-up.
You ever crashed at Milwaukee?
I have, actually. I didn't love it, but
I'm trying to wrap my head around choosing 50 G's instantaneous impact over an engine change, but I see your point. I can see it both ways.
Give me the laps. I'll take the hit.
157.9. It's not a big first lap for Louis Foster. As we were saying, anything above 127 would be something of a result for him, given the day that he's had and the lack of running. 156.5 is the average of Jacob Abel that he's got to try and get ahead of on the average for the 2 laps. So Louis Foster keeping it out of the wall. And a 157.0 brings him down to 157.5, ahead of Jacob Abel. Right, let's hear from the man who's actually, believe it or not, the best average qualifier on ovals so far this year. It's Felix Rosenqvist.
I was going to lead off with that. Felix Rosenqvist, you're having a great oval qualifying. You're 4.25 your average, the best of the field. Today, seems like there are definitely some challenges, but you seem to be a master at the oval qualifying this year. What are those challenges going to be today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good stat. Obviously, we want to be the best average finisher as well. Maybe it's still time for that. I don't think so. But yeah, aim is have a good last 2 ovals here. As I said, a qualifying performance has been really good. It's kind of hard to know where we are today. I think it's just super tight. It's all about really just nailing the lap. And this place is really tough with like what lines you take, and if you send it in a little too hard into one, you normally go wide on exit, and it's a super complex track to drive. So but I like the challenge of it. Hopefully we can launch ourselves up there for a good starting position, and yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a hectic day.
Good luck, Felix.
Thank you. Thank you.
Callum Eilert out on track for Prema, and what a run of results this young man has had at the end of this season. While Robert Schwartzman started the top 10s and the best places with a 9th place, this guy has gone and done an 8th at Toronto, a 6th at Laguna Seca, a 6th at Portland. Incredibly, at Laguna Seca and Portland, started 24th in both, finished 6th in both. A pretty amazing run for this guy in the new Italian team, Prema Racing. And 1:53.8 for his warm-up lap is slow.
But the back looks nervous there, James, as he exited 4. It looked like that right rear was starting to wander on him, and a lot of rear steer coming off the corner.
This is horrible.
Out of the throttle nice and early into turn 1, taking him a while to get back to full. Clearly not happy inside the number 90 machine, not giving him the feeling that he wants. And it's so easy to want to overstep and end up having a car in the wall, and that's worse than just starting a little bit further back.
That looked grim for Callum Eilert. 156.4 is the slowest that we've seen so far today, and maybe the slowest that we see all day. Yeah, not a happy-looking driver or car.
But as you mentioned, Will, he's come from the back to a top 6 in 2 of the last races, so, and those are at tracks much harder to pass than here at...
So it's Devlin DeFrancesco from Rob, Schwartzman, Foster, Abel and Eilert, now known as Siegel, heads out onto the circuit.
Best qualifying on an oval this year was 8th at Iowa. He had to sit out the 2nd race after a big crash during the first contest on the short track there. Back out now, turning left.
Qualified 11th here last year, knows how to get his way around Milwaukee. See how busy the drivers are in the gears around here. Double downshift, double upshift. Nailing those upshifts is so important when you're talking about hundreds and thousandths of a second.
Oh, a lot of limiter.
But sometimes what the engineers find is that carrying a little bit of hard limiter, that sort of half second or so, still gives you more of an advantage in the acceleration getting there than it does from the kind of falling of the pace.
But it's so disruptive when that hard limiter comes on just as you're trying to be as smooth and precise as possible. When you get in the limiter on corner turning, it can really throw you off. And frankly, the pitch of the car is also, in a very small way, pitching on and off on the limiter.
We talked about that tailwind into turn 1. That's why you're hearing that limiter down into 1, but not into 3. Headwind, of course, into turn 3.
So Siegel comes to complete the lap, and it will place him 2nd. So DeFrancesco, the fastest from the first group, 159.0, the average for his 2 laps. Coming up, Connor Daly, rapid this morning. Joseph Newgarden, the fastest of all. And what can Alexander Rossi do back on an oval?
So Eilert goes in 7th, Abel only going 6th, Siegel jumping straight up into 2nd position as well as things currently stand here. As now we go into our little bit of a break. before we head out there for our next runners out on the circuit. It's going to be quite an interesting run. Let's check in international view still. Will.
Townsend, are you going to start a Twitch channel at some point?
Thinking about it.
Yeah, what are you going to broadcast? You're going to, like, surfing over the winter?
Oh, Twitch. Oh, I was thinking I'd broadcast Nintendo 64
Nice.
GoldenEye fail.
Yes. I think that sounds
I
like
want to see how bad
what
not
not
to
to
do.
Right.
We need to get the...
Never thought about Twitch from just traditional video. I guess I always think of it as gaming, streaming, but could be.
yeah.
Is that how it started?
I had no idea.
I could do a live stream of a stand-up ride or a foil session.
Please don't.
Please let us know via social media whether that is something you would like to see over the off-season.
Yeah. How about motocross?
Could be fun.
Better. Now, can you live stream from a GoPro on your helmet?
I'm sure you can.
Let's figure out how to do that, because people would pay to see that. Just in case something went wrong.
On like one of those foil boards.
That does happen.
It does, apparently.
I'd give you all 2.5 laps before the arm pump sets in.
Be a short stream.
Back to qualifying. Next up, Marcus Ericsson.
I saw somebody proposed a new destination called Older Fans, where you get to pay for a subscription to see all of the ailments that hit older guys.
Enough.
You know.
Marcus Ericsson. And a new livery this weekend out on track in the 28 car. Tough season for the Swede, 20th as it stands in the standings. But, I mean, phenomenal result at the Indy 500 before he was eliminated from the results for a technical infringement on the car. Loves his oval running, loves his oval racing, of course, a winner of the Indianapolis 500. Green flag to start his 2-lap run for Marcus Ericsson, but that first lap at 149.7, desperately slow.
I don't know, though. This might be a really good strategy, which is to save those Firestones for one end of the track. A lot of, I'd say 8 out of 10 drivers so far seem to be slower on their second lap than their first, so this could be strategically focused here. Let's see. 59.6.
Good. Really good first lap. Maybe that's it. You take the learnings from the first group. Do not push too hard on those opening couple of laps. Save it all for these two.
Still a fraction slower than what we saw out of him on practice. In the second lap, not quite tracking as quick as the number 30 on the entry to 3, but catching him back up on the exit.
Catching on exit. 59.0 is the time to beat. It's a 59.087 by the scantest of margins. Ericsson takes over at the top of the timing sheets. One guy mired at the bottom of the times, though. Callum Ilott standing by with Georgia.
Yes, driver of the number 90, Callum Ilott with me now. Callum, was there anything you could have done differently during that run?
Drive faster. I don't know. It didn't feel amazing. We tried a different direction after a FP and didn't feel great, but, you know, it's live and learn.
Thanks.
There's a disarming honesty about Callum Ilott I rather enjoy. Now, this guy, Connor Daly, 3rd fastest in practice this morning. One of the 4 drivers, along with David Malukas, Christian Rasmussen and Santino Ferrucci, that we always come to expect special things from on ovals. He has 2 opportunities to pull out a headline result at the end of this season. He has looked phenomenal on ovals. He has already looked phenomenal today. And as he winds it up, Hinch, Connor Daly, hoping to end his season on a high.
Yeah, absolutely. P3 in practice. He was 3rd here in the race last year. I believe race 1. Great podium for JHR. This is Connor Daly's bread and butter. This is what he loves. This is what he's so good at. And whether it's, you know, getting a lap in practice, it's not like he's bad at qualifying either. He just knows how to get around a short oval.
129 career starts with no wins. That is the most of any driver on the grid. How dearly he would love it to be here on this weekend, on this track that he loves. And 160.484 is a massive lap to start.
And that compares very favorably to Connor Daly's 160.4 in practice. So very consistent. He looks aggressive, especially down here, running higher than just about anybody we've seen, and hard on the throttle early off 4.
59.0 to beat. 59.0 he does beat. It's a 160.181. Connor Daly goes to P1.
Nicely done.
Early P1, see how it holds up.
Interesting to see the drop-off between lap 1 and lap 2. You don't normally see as big of a drop on this type of circuit compared to, say, in Indianapolis or some of the flat-out ovals. As you see Ericsson there giving some tips to his teammate Kyle Kirkwood will be going later in the run. One of the best parts about having teammates on this oval qualifying format. And Joseph Newgarden not used to going out this early. Of course, it's reverse championship order. And this is the guy who is the oval specialist. All 8 of his last wins have come on ovals. And he probably should have added a couple more this season were it not for some terrible luck.
329 laps led on ovals this season for Joseph Newgarden, but nothing to show for it.
161 flat was his best lap time. Whoa, you see the back of that car, G-Bell?
Wiggling. I would expect.
Think about your tools.
Yeah, think about your tools. That's what I'd be saying if I was on the stand. Did they say white flag or green flag? Green flag. Okay.
Whoa, big moment there.
Let's see if he makes an adjustment here on the back straight. Yeah, quick on the front roll bar. Stiffen that baby up and try to prop the front end up if it's loose.
He's out of the throttle a little earlier than I was expecting, but look at those corrections. Those white gloves working hard, Townsend. That's not awesome.
But the roll bar worked. It looked like maybe a weight jacker adjustment as well. So the ham's going fast and furious there.
160.1 for lap 1 is slower than Daly's first lap. And is pretty much on pace with Daly's average for the two. What will the drop-off be from Newgarden? Can he find some extra pace and take that P1 away from Connor Daly?
See that Connor's line was just a little bit higher through turn 4, but Newgarden
Good enough.
was absolutely hanging on to it, and it is good enough to go to the top.
So Joseph Newgarden improves on his second lap. The first driver we've seen do that today, and it's good enough to take him to P1. Connor Daly standing by with Georgia.
Yeah, Connor Daly watching Joseph Newgarden. Of course, he took the top spot. Still a solid run from you. We're going to have to see where it holds up. Tell me about your run.
Yeah, I don't know where our pace went. Just difficult to put the power down. So, yeah, it's a shame. I mean, obviously having Joseph go right after us, you know that he's probably one of the best here and he's the fastest. So, you know, our hopes at pole go away immediately. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I appreciate AMPM and Chevrolet and Arco, everyone that's here, and all the fans that are here. It's amazing. Hopefully it holds up for at least a week.
Podium finish for Connor last year, P3 in practice today. We'll see where it holds up.
Well, look, he said it himself. I mean, the pace of the 2 in practice was better than anybody. He's only a couple tenths of a mile an hour off of the time Joseph Newgarden did immediately after him. Same conditions. So it's still a pretty valiant effort from Connor.
0.12 of a mile an hour. The difference. That is it between the fastest man and the man who has been the benchmark on ovals this season.
But what's so interesting, guys, is even Joseph couldn't match his time and his pace from earlier today. And I can't help but think, Townsend, some of that's to do with the track temp. It was about 92 degrees in practice. It's up at 110 right now, and that can change the balance of the race car in a big way.
Yeah, and I think Joseph did a great job to respond. His team caught it right away that the balance was loose. But when you start your flying lap with a question mark, it's so hard to be aggressive, as Kiffin Simpson gets the same reminder. 158.1, lap 1.
Kiffin Simpson actually started his open wheel career the same season that Alex Palou, his teammate, started his INDYCAR career. This is only his 6th season in open wheel racing. He has come on leaps and bounds this year, had some brilliant results, a podium in Toronto, his first in INDYCAR, learning from his 2 champion teammates over the line for Kiffin. It is an average of 158.132, and that's good enough for 7th at the moment. Now, what has Alexander Rossi got? Felt like a big step forward. for Alexander last time out, but we're back on the kind of tracks that ECR really come into their own.
Yeah, he had great starts here in the 2 races last year. 4.5 is his average start position here, 6.5 average finish. So a great track overall for Alex. Look, only come here the 1 year, double header races last season, but he was up there mixing it up with the leaders. And this could be a place we see a lot of pace from.
Been very consistent on the short ovals this year at Gateway, qualified 12th, 13th at Iowa 1-1, and 14th at Iowa 2 as he gets that rear end dancing through the middle of 1 and 2 on his warm-up lap.
Rossi with the season's best of 5th last time out at Portland. Can he bring that confidence? You hear it on the limiter again on the run into one.
Oh, slides up a little bit high. Manages to hang on to it, keeps his foot buried. 175, 176 into turn 3. That's a big number. Minimum speed of 149. That's one of the best we've seen.
Depletes all his hybrid. Regen up to about 35%. 159.9 is not the best that we've seen. It's about mid-pack. What has already been less than half the field.
And not too far off, though, of Joseph Newgarden's current top time of 160.3. So provisionally 3rd. We'll have to see what lap 2 looks like. Can he keep the speed up? No.
No, but it's a good run overall. P3 for him of a 159.3.
I'll be a little disappointed with that, I think. Showed some pace in practice. He was P8 at 159.8.
Now for one of the surprise packages of the day so far. Graham Rahal up in the top 6 in practice on a track type where traditionally his team have not gone well this year, but really leading the way for them in practice after a brilliant result last time out in Portland, making up 18 places. We saw in Iowa how much this car, particularly under Graham Rahal, just dropped like a stone during the races. It seems they've found something. They've been able to modify this car in a way that is more adaptable to the ovals arriving here.
At least on one-lap performance. We won't really know until final practice a little later this afternoon and certainly in the race tomorrow. But I will say, watching DiFrancesco's hands earlier, he seemed to be pretty confident with the teammate car. Graham Rahal warm-up 156.6. That's encouraging.
And to your point, Townsend, from earlier, how early Dev was able to get back on the throttle.
Newgarden's ghost car here for Graham to chase. Ooh. Wow, nice.
Corner's good.
It is on. It is on for Graham Rahal. Wow. Could it be?
160.5. Cloud cover may have brought the temperature down just a notch. That'll play into his hands. Newgarden ahead now. It is nip and tuck between Rahal and Newgarden.
And he'll have seen that number on the dash. He'll know what Joseph's time was.
He is so good through turns 3 and 4.
Wow, and the exit for Rahal, it's looking nice. It's going to be close between Rahal and Newgarden for the 2 laps. It takes him to 3rd.
Oh, missed out.
Very tidy and impressive run from Graham Rahal.
Yeah, just too much understeer. Particularly 3-4, tons of understeer.
Where he looked the strongest. Maybe he needs to dial a little more in for 1 and 2. But no, it's interesting. It's about, when cars are going off, it's about a mile, 1.1 miles an hour difference between lap 1 and lap 2, which again...
There seems to be at least a little bit of value in maybe it's higher on the warm-up lap. Okay.
Talking about that. Take a little bit easy on the warm-up lap, save some tire, and that's because we're seeing that second lap be slower. A lot of times at these tracks, where you're really throttling it, you're really trying to pedal it through the corner, you find where the grip level is on lap 1. You can usually push it a little bit harder on lap 2, but if the tire's not hanging on, you're just kind of at the mercy of the grip. So Ferrucci going to nurse these 4 Firestones as best he can around this warm-up lap. We're still getting a sense of the balance of the car, and then coming off a 4, this time by, pin it and see what it's got.
Santino Ferrucci, one of those drivers we're expecting big things from this weekend. Did not look good in practice. Mired at the bottom of the times for the majority of the session when he put on the fresh tires. Only made his way up about as high as 22nd at best. Let's see what his qualifying run can do for him. 1:53 for the warm-up.
Now, I'm going to say something here, and I mean it the nicest way possible. I almost hope he doesn't qualify that well.
I know what
that
you mean.
means he's going to move all the way to the front and put on a show for us tomorrow in the race. Because I don't care where this car starts, I know where this driver can drive it to.
Well, he does it with such creativity, especially here at Milwaukee. It offers a broad canvas for the artist to go to work, and he did it last year by using the low line earlier and more aggressively than anybody else in the field. A few drivers took note later on in the race, but Ferrucci was working the slide job to great effect. And guys, I like the balance from his race car. It looks tight. He might not be the fastest thing out there, but the hands look predictable.
Or whatever he has on his palette, he is going to need some bold brush strokes tomorrow. Santino Ferrucci right at the very rear of the field, 158.6.8, the best that he can muster. These guys coming up shortly.
Well, so far an interesting session then. Callum Ilott down in 14th place at the moment.
Hi, international folks. There is Mr. Rasmussen. Disappointing lap from Ferrucci, a couple of laps from Ferrucci. But, as Hinch was saying, gives us some guaranteed excitement tomorrow.
But you got to remember, they were struggling a little bit in practice to find a setup that worked. Maybe that was just more of a validation going back to something else. I thought the hands looked pretty confident. But to your point, James, having Ferrucci start at the back opens up some possibilities. But let's not forget, he's had 2 massive crashes on road to street circuits coming into this weekend, both at Toronto, injured his hand, couldn't race, and then at Portland early on in the race, lost the back end of the race car, heavy into the inside concrete wall. That has to factor into any driver's head when you come to Milwaukee.
Last time we were in Milwaukee, chugged a beer down at Turn 1 at Road America. I'm surprised he doesn't have Jacob Abel's livery for this weekend, to be completely honest with you. But loves being in Wisconsin, will be happy to be back here. And we are expecting big things from him in the race tomorrow. Do not take your eyes off Santino Ferrucci, as it currently stands starting from the penultimate row. Only question mark is how high can you rise in the race? That's going to be fun to watch.
But look, ultimately, he still needs to get a car underneath him that he's comfortable pulling off these creative moves. So it's going to still be back to the drawing board for Ferrucci and the engineers of the 14 car to give him something that he can use the way we know he can.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. Christian Rasmussen leaving pit lane in the Splendor Stavia Chevrolet. Kind of a lime green accent on the car this weekend. It'll certainly make him more visible in people's mirrors as he's coming through, like a warning sign for them.
I think at this point in the season, all you need to hear is Rasmussen or 21, and
stay out of his way.
The audible visibility becomes apparent. Just the reputation that this guy has on the track for being so aggressive and getting away with it, frankly, more times than not. That's been the surprising bit to me, is that he has had so many crash or near crashes that he's driven away from, especially on the ovals. He is fun to watch.
And like Ferrucci, a driver who makes positions up. 56 positions gained over the Indy 500 at Gateway and the 2 Iowa races. And in qualifying, he is on par with Joseph Newgarden.
Nice run off of 4, neck and neck with the Penske driver, just a little bit ahead. That's going to be a nice 160 in that first lap.
But let's not forget, Newgarden's first lap wasn't brilliant. It was the second when Newgarden made the difference and improved his pace.
Yeah, he went about 3/10, almost 4/10 of a mile an hour faster on lap 2.
Looking good there, coming off of 4. Looked like Rasmussen learning a little bit of that Connor Daly line. In lap 2, pretty solid.
Up to P3. And you know what? Despite Daly's pessimism, that P2 time is sticking. Graham Rahal down to P4 and down on pit lane with Georgia.
And Graham Rahal just said you qualified almost a second better than you did last year. Where is that difference made up this year?
Yeah, I think our guys have worked awfully hard to get this WEX number 15 up towards the front, and
You know, we tested here midsummer and had a good test, a lot better than last year. You know, last year we just struggled with the rear of the car, so, which we do on most ovals, but, you know, she's been pretty good, well behaved this weekend, and, you know, I would have liked that second lap to be better. The understeer level was, I was going to the left on the jacket, just couldn't get enough, but, I mean, miles better than what we had, so we'll take it.
Graham coming off a fourth in Portland, momentum showing through.
Now Rinus VeeKay, his teammate Jacob Abel, currently down in P14, but VeeKay himself was P4 in practice. What a season. What a season so far for Rinus VeeKay. Top 10s for Coyne from the very first race, impressing with every passing weekend. Hitch, do you like the look of this?
That was an aggressive turn it into one. The back of the car was stable. The front of the car responded. That looked really, really comfortable for Rinus VeeKay. Dale Coyne Racing was the only other team that came here and tested. So it was RLL, DCR, 5 cars in total. It worked in practice. What does he have so far in qualifying?
Not quite there.
Not too bad.
9.7.
Not too bad if he can stay consistent. Gets back to full throttle awfully early off of turn 2. And as much as we talk about where will Power go next year, this is probably number 2 on the list of free agents. What will Rinus VeeKay do? A great qualifying performance here could matter a lot.
It's a 159.5. He goes into 5th. So it's Newgarden and Daly, Rasmussen, Rahal, VeeKay and Rossi, the top 3 rows as things stand. Next up, Scotty Mack. Soncio livery on board the 3 car this weekend. Feeling confident after practice.
One of the race winners from the Milwaukee doubleheader last year after a great battle late in the race with Colton Herta. After practice, he was talking about his long run pace, guys, more than his qualifying and single lap pace. So I don't think he's too fussed about where he ends up. Sure, you're going to want to start up front, always makes your job easier, but he's definitely confident he can have a good race car.
He seemed to be the only guy that we interviewed after practice where that was his immediate focus. That's what he went to right away. And to me, that says a lot about maturity, experience in this series, and understanding that the last 20 laps of a stint are going to be far more important than the first 20 laps in the race.
Hinch, you're dancing around in the announce booth. You've got your elbows out. How much is that reflecting the way in which McLaughlin's going to drive this car right now?
Yeah, even just coming to the green flag there, you can see off of 4, he was dancing around a bit. 175 miles an hour into 3. Only Rossi had a quicker top speed, but his minimum there was pretty solid.
He's just working that front roll bar, Will.
That's
for turn
massive. 162.1 for the first lap for Scott McLaughlin. That is huge.
Working the controls to great effect. Watch that front hand. Right hand goes down, stiffens the front bar. He's working it at every end of the track.
Right, that is masterful. Absolute statement right now from McLaughlin. Newgarden looks on helplessly, nothing he can do.
And for Scott McLaughlin, it is P1 by a massive 1.4 miles an hour.
Excellent run, man.
Oh, it's on.
That is masterful.
Yeah, that's a statement right there, guys. I mean, track temp is still going up. It's 111.5 degrees right now, so about 1 to 2 degrees hotter than when Connor Daly and Joseph Newgarden went and did their runs. But McLaughlin no doubt benefiting from the knowledge that Newgarden would have given him. His car still looked twitchy, not quite as bad as Newgarden's. So those Penske cars definitely on edge in qualifying trim.
It was the same adjustment that McLaughlin made that we saw out of Joseph Newgarden 3 and 4. The difference was McLaughlin had it in both settings at either end of the track. That's the benefit of a multi-car team, to see what your teammate does and be able to anticipate. Now can David Malukas do the same thing, having watched his teammate Santino Ferrucci struggle quite a bit.
Last time we were on the oval, this young man qualified 3rd in Iowa race 2. His improvement from the first to second lap took him from P10 for race 1 to P3 for race 2. So he knows how to pull out that second lap, how to improve that pace. The driver rumored to be taking the seat of Will Power at Penske in 2026. He has become seen as something of an oval specialist. And my word, he gets so racy and looks so good in qualifying. 159.2 is his warm-up speed.
But chasing it big time, Will. Big big slide through the middle of 3 and 4 to get up the track, but it's fast.
Wow, 162.5 for the first lap for David Malukas. Can he improve on this lap? Can he hold it steady?
I can't believe he held the pace with the big slide right here.
Through 3 and 4. David Malukas.
Yes.
My word.
Tracking back.
My word. David Malukas over the line and takes pole away. Wow. 162.2.
I promise you, Scott McLaughlin was not expecting to be usurped so quickly after that kind of margin he had. But let's take a look again at this moment.
You want to see what courage looks like right here? That thing is right up at the narrow edge of the top side of the groove, and he just hangs onto it. Spectacular stuff for David Malukas.
2 laps, and we've increased the pace by 2.1 mile an hour. 1.9. My maths ain't great.
That's what happens to get to the top 10 in points. These are the top 10 best drivers on the season so far.
We're close to the last couple cars that have gone and reported more understeer in 3 and 4 than 1 and 2, but I don't know what that could happen.
So good luck to you.
More understeer in 1 and 2 than 3 and 4. Probably down to the wind direction. Maybe it's kind of hitting the car's broadside in the middle of 1 and 2. That can push the front end up off of 2.
Looking at the flag, though, James, on the front straightaway, and that American flag blowing towards 1 and 2, but not with much wind speed. Georgia talked about the random gusts on pit lane, so maybe it's unpredictable out there.
With the exception of Gateway, qualifying on ovals hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Colton Herta this year. 23rd and 19th at Iowa, 27th for the Indianapolis 500, but it was a top 10 at Gateway. What can Herta do today? Needs a strong finish to his season for Andretti in a season where he has not won a race and told us the other day. Big slide, huge slide.
He saved it! Has he saved it? Yes, he has. He hasn't hit the wall, though.
That was
Colton Herta slides coming out of turn 2, doesn't hit the wall, and just keeps it going.
Incredible car control, working the steering, working the throttle. You could hear him just trying to keep it going. He's got to finish this run in case there is a driver that crashes, but let's see it again, guys.
I mean, this guy did it in the Indy GP in the wet a few years ago, a replay we still watch, and
oh my word, look at that. Look at that. Incredible.
Okay, lap 197. There's room to build from that.
And look, they told him more understeer in 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden he's sideways off of 2. I wonder if he maybe made an adjustment in the car, went too far with the tools, but he's going to finish this run, the right thing to do. But man, he'll still be catching his breath when he comes in.
134. Nobody's done that. Nobody's gone 40 miles an hour quicker.
That was
1 over 2.
That's huge. 134 is lower than his heart rate right now, I promise you that.
At the pivotal pendulum moment of that slide, that was total brilliance to save that thing. This is remarkable.
Poetry in motion. We'll be back to Milwaukee. Wow. Colton Herta makes the save, but it's another frustrating qualifying run for him on an oval.
Watch this one more time. Just listen to the throttle. I thought he was going to save it, man.
I mean, that sounded like Ayrton Senna.
Yes.
Suzuka through a fast corner, except in this case, Colton was sideways.
I mean, man, that was inches away from being held.
He'll be so angry about what happened, having to start at the back, but so happy that his race car is in one piece.
Absolutely.
And we've already talked about it a bunch of times so far today. You can move up here. It's a good car. He was quick last year in both races. He just needs to take a breath and work on the race car this afternoon.
Amazing.
What a save.
Amazing.
That's going to be highlight reel stuff for a decade.
I know he's getting $7 million a year, but think of the money he just saved the race team.
Well, Herta, unsurprisingly, down at the bottom, 112.7 average. But as you guys said, important to finish the 2 laps just in case, next up, top 7 in the championship. Alex Palou will be the last driver out on track.
It's unfortunate. I think we weren't super confident after practice, so kind of took a little bit of a swing out.
Since the moment it was announced, everyone's had this matchup circled. The Arch Manning era kicks off with a playoff rematch for the ages as Texas take on defending national champion Ohio State on Big Noon Saturday. Coverage begins with Big Noon kickoff live from Columbus at 9 a.m. Eastern. Next Saturday on Fox.
You guys down for a viewing party in Nashville? That'll be a fun game.
Hook 'em horns. You know what? All the times that I've been to Texas, never been to see a game. And look at this. The Dairy Bowl. 40 Green Bay games.
1939 NFL Championship game. Packers take it 27-0. Look at that crowd. Stacked.
Awesome.
Yeah, pretty good crowd today, and we'll expect a pretty full house tomorrow.
A full crowd tomorrow. Hoping to watch this guy fight his way from the back of the field. Colton Herta.
A frustrating situation for Colton Herta. First, what happened? And second, how did you save it to minimize the damage?
I don't think I saved that. So, yeah, that's frustrating. Just, it looks like we're just too loose right from the beginning. And as soon as we touch that lower pavement right there, the lower patch, it just kind of goes. So, I don't know. It's really frustrating for me. Just, we weren't really there in practice. Yeah, except that. Which, you know, my teammate Marcus was able to use, and I think he had a better line of me than practice, and so I went to his line there for qualifying, and we were on very similar cars. Unfortunately, the car just didn't like that patch, it seems like. So that's frustrating. I don't know, I don't really know what to say right now, because we couldn't find anything in practice, and now we just did that in qualifying, so we really need to do a big 180 here.
Thank you, Colton.
I think understandably frustrated given the pace in that car, potentially the changes he thought he needed to make. But also it's another oval where he's going to have to drive from the rear of the field.
And isn't it fascinating, guys, on the same day where we watch, say, Rahal Letterman Lanigan take a step up, all of a sudden now Andretti maybe taking a step down here at this track. That's how challenging it is to find a balance at an oval with this unique shape and design.
But also how indicative of his season as a whole for Colton Herta. Has had the pace, but there is this inherent underlying frustration that here we lie with 2 to go. No wins. And I talked to him the other day. He said, all I want this year now is a win. I just cannot envisage finishing a year without a victory.
Well, I'll look at this a little bit differently. I'll argue that the pace isn't there. He was 17th in practice. He said that, you know, Ericsson had a better line. He was having to make some adjustments himself. So when you spin and you don't have pace, you know, that's his perception at this point. It's even more frustrating for the driver.
What about this guy, Marcus Armstrong? A strong run in this latter half of the season. It's been an impressive year from him, more impressive than the taxi ride he gave to Hinch, myself, and Jack Harvey yesterday around this circuit. He's not taking the line that he did with us in the car. He looks pretty good as things stand. You can catch it on social media if you wish to. It was terrifying. Not fun in any way.
I was conveniently on a flight delay for that one. Lap 1, 158.2. Solid, not spectacular, but
not the worst, not the best.
Working that hybrid yet? No, still 68% charge. Entering turn 4, it's going to get him all the way up to 100%, and he'll hopefully deploy here. There it goes. Rapid deployment of the hybrid.
It's an improvement on the second lap and up to 11th. Well, he was sitting pretty at the top of the times for quite a while until his teammate and then potential new teammate deposed him. Joseph Newgarden now sits third.
Joseph Newgarden here. It's not going to be a pole run, but you certainly have pace. What do you have for them tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we can put together a great race car with Snap on here. Excited to have them this weekend. It's a big hometown race for them. They're a big company worldwide, but they have a big presence in Milwaukee, so try and put our best foot forward with Team Chevy and hopefully get to the front.
Thank you.
Okay, the man with the best average qualifying position of the year on ovals, Felix Rosenqvist, can he put up a time to contend with Malukas or McLaughlin on the front row at the moment? Malukas a 162.2, McLaughlin a 161.7. And I get the feeling Felix might potentially. He's one of those guys, just comes alive in qualifying on ovals.
Green flag.
High, 179 on entry to one.
Hunting a little bit there mid-corner, but nowhere near the patch that Colton Herta drove over and then had a big sideways moment just a couple laps ago.
He's gone.
This will be the wall.
Not as big as it could have been, and both Majeshek Racing and Rosenqvist will be thankful for that. Rear wing damage, day done, and that is why Colton Herta finished his 2 laps. The prospect of someone losing it. Wow.
And that's the angle that is so brutal here at Milwaukee, given the just 9 degrees of banking.
Yeah, just straight back, barely any energy absorbed from the side of the car, the suspension, that goes right to the driver.
Well, the best driver to qualify on ovals this year is out and in the wall. Didn't have that on my bingo card.
No, I mean, we're just bigging up his qualifying on ovals prowess, and then this happens. Take a look again. You just mentioned that loose moment, Townsend, and
the difference here is you won't hear the throttle chase like Colton Herta used to good effect with here. And I don't think throttle would have helped Felix Rosenqvist at all there. You know, with Colton Herta, he kind of was later in turn 2 where he got loose. This was pretty early to mid of turn 3. And at this point right here, I'm done, I'm going, and I know it. And all you can do is take your hands off the wheel and just wait for a sledgehammer to the back.
And you see that tether that attaches the rear wing to the gearbox doing its job so well, because as soon as that car went backwards, that wing was going straight up with some force. AMR safety team now cleaning up the number 60 machine. But it's so tricky, Townsend, as you know, when you have a loose moment on an oval, the last thing you want to do is overcorrect, because going in forwards is even worse sometimes than going in backwards.
If there's any consolation here that's positive, it's look at the right rear suspension, looks intact, left rear is damaged, but I'm not going to say a nice square hit, but a convenient square hit in terms of damage. We don't know if the gearbox casing or the bell housing would have survived that.
Engine, I mean, that shot
engine
to go right
crack
through,
the block.
But this part, you see how condensed and crushed that is.
That's what it's designed to do.
It's designed to do just that. The attenuator made out of carbon fiber, a very specific kind of weave and honeycomb pattern inside to absorb an impact just like that. But of course, you can see the damage right there to the floor as well. So some repair work for the MSR crew, but nowhere near as rough as that could have been.
I'm looking for any hole in the steel membrane on the safer barrier, but it looks okay.
Sometimes accidents in Milwaukee can be so bad. I remember a story about a crash off of turn 2 where the turbocharger ended up in someone's yard off the back straight.
Finders keepers. I wonder what the styrofoam sections there are like, because that's usually another thing that needs to be examined and replaced. We'll find out soon.
Tonight, a pair of proper rivals are going to slug it out for control of the division race as Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers take on Manny Machado and the Padres at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, only on FS1. Let's take another look at this Felix Rosenqvist moment and ultimate impact with the barrier on his first lap of his qualifying run. And as we were just discussing in commercial break, a very different incident to the one that befell Colton Herta. No real way to get out of that. Just hit the brake and take your hands off the wheel and hope for the best.
Yeah, it just happened a lot earlier in the corner and in a different corner. than Colton Herta's big slide, half spin. But let's watch on board with Felix Rosenqvist and listen again. I mean, you got to give him full credit for trying. He picked up the throttle awfully early into turn 3, and I'm sure the minimum speed would have been top of the charts for all the cars that have run so far. It just was too much.
Well, that will be P27 as it stands for Felix Rosenqvist. Until today, the best average qualifier on ovals for the season.
Got a feeling that record will not stand by the end of the day.
I wonder, does that now make Malukas? I can't remember what the stat was earlier today and who was second. But with another P1, if he was to...
Oh, for the highest average qualifying? Yeah.
Oh, Pato O'Ward, who obviously is yet to run, will be the penultimate driver.
Here's the graphic there, Will. So Rosenqvist leads coming into here, and Malukas was third at a 5.0. So, well, we don't know until Pato O'Ward runs, but I think that David Malukas definitely has a shot.
Yeah.
Don't have that many ovals on the schedule. Wow. Fascinating that here's the top 5 best average qualifiers on ovals, but only one of them had a pole position this year, Alex Palou, on oval.
Pato, Malukas, and Palou within 0.2 of each other. And there is Malukas on screen. Your current P1 man. That run. Let's talk about that in a minute. That was a great run.
It was awesome.
Sensational.
And the car was definitely not planted to start. We saw the slide through 3 and 4 to get things started. Actually, that was on lap 1, and he just kept his foot in it. That's what was so remarkable for me about the run, was no real lift. He was committed. And of the cars left to run, one Team Penske in Will Power with a chance to put his name above Malukas's in another career pole position.
We'll start alongside him again.
I mean, they're going to start close to each other, almost certainly. You got to think Power is going to be a top 5 runner here with McLaughlin and Newgarden in the mix. Kyle Kirkwood, I think that's a big question mark, right? Ericsson has struggled a bit so far. Herta just had that big spin. Can Kirkwood do something significantly better? And then Dixon and Palou. I mean, Palou's the one I'm most curious about because he looks so confident, James, in practice. Car looked balanced. He seems like he's ready for his first Milwaukee win.
I mean, he was second in practice, but what was so impressive about his run is he went out and did that lap very early in the session. So confident right out of the box to just get on with the job. Later in the run, when people went to new tires, you know, Joseph pipped him there. But actually, Joseph's run on new tires actually went slower. So
yeah, really hard to say, Will, if it's balanced versus leader or not. But Malukas did use fifth gear there in turn 1. Just got back to power really early.
Interesting.
There you go. Yeah. Information from that proof of the Penske Foyt Technical Alliance. He's getting some feedback there on what Malukas did from a gear strategy standpoint.
But then shadows now in 3 and 4. Tremendous cloud cover to get the track temp down. It's reading 112 right now, the hottest of the day. But it matters. The cloud cover for Will Power looks ideal.
One last time out. Will Power. The questions remain. The doubts about his pace and prowess. Well, they've never been a question.
Green flag.
Let's go on board with Will Power into 1. You're shaking your head, Hinch.
Not pretty. Not pretty. Had to fight that throttle. He was stabbing at it. A little twitchy on entry into 3. I don't know. I don't think that downshift out of 2 was expected. You're hitting limiter.
161.3, still pretty solid. That's faster than Newgarden.
Dude, it's not slow, but it's not pretty. He is battling that thing. Adjustments now to the front bar, a little stiffer. That's going to make the front end a little bit more numb. Try to move the grid more towards the rear.
Well, his place in comparison to his teammates and in comparison to Malukas, it's P3 for Power. McLaughlin stays second. Critically, Malukas stays first. So it's a Penske 2, 3, 4. And now there's only 5 drivers left to run.
And what an audition for Malukas. David Malukas just out-qualified all 3 Team Penske drivers His teammate Ferrucci, who was a master here last year, is all the way down towards the bottom in 18th right now. And Malukas has every reason to be smiling big. But he knows there's still an Alex Palou, a Scott Dixon, a Pato O'Ward, and this guy, Kyle Kirkwood, to go, along with Lundgaard.
Yeah, really curious what Kirkwood here can do. You kind of mentioned it. Ericsson, reasonable run actually for the time that he went out fairly early. Not a lot of rubber down yet, but then you have those issues with Colton Herta.
It's looking like a Chevrolet day. Everyone in the top 6 running Chevrolet power. 2 McLarens yet to go as well, amongst them number Pato O'Ward. 3 Hondas, Kirkwood, Dixon, and Palou. Green flag, all on Kyle Kirkwood.
He's going all the way down to that patch and then some. That's the one that Herta said sort of upset the car, the line that Ericsson was using. He's making it work. See if it's quick or not. He's much lower in 3 and 4.
Pretty low in 3 and 4 too, but that might just be what the setup wants, and you're sort of stuck. You couldn't really make spring changes or geometry changes after watching Herta and Ericsson. Kirkwood hangs on over the patch there in turn 2.
Quicker than Newgarden, good enough for 4th as it stands for Kyle Kirkwood. Can he get amongst the Penske's? Can he get amongst the Chevys?
It's a great run. Relative to his teammates, an awesome run for Kirkwood.
Decent through the final corner, over the line for Kirkwood, and it is up into the top 4.
P4 right now.
Deposes Newgarden, gets amongst it, a 160.353, the average over the 2 laps.
Yeah, you can be happy with that. You can pat yourself on the back. Kirkwood doing a great job exploring the lanes and the lines a little bit more than what we've seen other drivers doing, and it's sort of worked out for him.
And what a season for Kyle Kirkwood. Has really stepped to the fore, I would say, as America's lead open-wheel driver this year.
3 wins on the year, got his first oval victory at Gateway earlier this season. He was the main challenger to Palou for a good chunk there. He's fallen down to 5th in points. He'll be a little bit disappointed about that, but he's only a handful of points behind Christian Lundgaard for 4th.
So this will be interesting. Christian Lundgaard all the way down in 18th in practice. His teammate Pato O'Ward was 10th. His other teammate Nolan Siegel sits all the way down in 14th right now. So I'm not sure what we can expect here.
Last 2 races, he's qualified 7th. Last 2 races, he's finished 2nd.
But average starts on ovals so far this year, 21.7.
Not great.
So oval qualifying far from the strength of the 7 crew this year.
Oval racing far from their strength this year as well.
Yeah, 16th or 16.0 average.
I just don't think he's reached the phase yet in his IndyCar career, again, with 0 oval background prior to coming into this series. All road street circuits, largely road courses only. I just don't think he's gotten to the phase, James, in the process where he loves oval racing.
Let's take a look. What's he learned? Bit more of a Kyle Kirkwood line, using more of that first lane, that darker asphalt. Only 172 is what I saw top speed there. Just hunting on the throttle a little bit off of 4.
It's a 159.0 for lap 1. It's good enough for row 7, but nowhere near what Kirkwood was running. Needs to keep it in. It's going to be pretty close to that average.
Nothing spectacular, but it was steady as Lundgaard goes 158.8.
And that's good enough for 14th. Okay, 3 to go. Scott Dixon, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou. I wonder, has anyone got anything that will allow them to answer to that run of David Malukas?
It's going to take a big send. I mean, 162.2 being half a mile an hour faster right now than P2. And then P2 being a mile an hour almost faster than P3. Like, what a spread we have, because it gets incredibly tight after that. Dixon
Never been on pole here at Milwaukee, but his best qualifying came all the way back in 2007. A second.
Won here in 09. But looking to grab his second win of the season.
Consistent season for Scott Dixon, plugging away and getting the job done.
I like that. That looked good. Looked very solid. I like the line.
Carried throttle decently far into turn 1, 175 miles an hour into 3. That's pretty stout as well.
No adjustments on the bars on that first lap. Perhaps the weight checker.
It was a slow warm-up lap, so maybe he took care of those tires.
Yeah,
there we go.
161.2 for lap 1. Back on board with Scott Dixon. Can he find something to take this fight to Malukas? Look at the advantage Malukas has, but Dixon is coming for him.
146 mile an hour minimum speed in 3 and 4. I'm not sure if it's enough to catch Malukas.
But very consistent. Great run from Dixon.
Well done there, Scott. Currently P3.
Timing scoring's failed.
On the radio there, letting know P3 is very, very solid. It's a 1/10 of a mile an hour average, better than power.
So going back to the start of this chassis at Milwaukee, Dixon's qualifying has been in 2012, 21st, then 11th, 10th, 17th, 17th. This is a transformational day in the recent history for Scott Dixon, and qualifying here, he should be pretty happy with that.
Pato O'Ward still hasn't locked second in the championship up just yet. That is his goal. Taking pole would be a step towards that.
Just a quick update. So the road bus turn 3, getting back to power. You was in 4th gear and on the black.
He started from the pole twice this year, once at Thermal Club, once in Portland by way of his teammate Christian Lundgaard's penalty. Indy 500, qualified 3rd. Gateway, qualified 3rd. We know how well he goes on ovals. Can Pato go back to the front row for the first time on an oval this year? How does he temper this warm-up lap?
Yeah, you saw that slower warm-up lap from Dixon around the 150 mark. You've seen a lot of drivers in the 155 to 157 range. Dixon still going to go quicker on lap 2. Still lost about 0.6 of a mile an hour. So again, a 157 warm-up lap from Pato. 142 minimum speed.
So it's a faster warm-up.
Balance looks pretty good, guys. That was a nice minimum speed, just rolling that.
White flag.
Kind of lane and a half. Oh, and it's close.
It's a 162.5. That's a massive first lap for Pato O'Ward. If he can maintain this pace for 2 more corners, O'Ward will nick the provisional pole away from David Malukas. 162.551. O'Ward's first lap. 62.256. Malukas' average. Over the line for O'Ward. Is it enough? It's
no!
Second goes second, 162.0, and only the champion can now deny this man his first ever INDYCAR pole position.
Guaranteed front row spot for Malukas. Just, I bet his heart rate's almost higher watching than it was from inside the race car. He saw how close it was, 0.2 of a mile an hour, almost nothing in it. And only 1 to go.
And what a strike back it would be for David Malukas with the win for Will Power last time out, and everyone questioning how could you consider dropping one of the greatest of all time with a guy who is still so young and unproven. If he could immediately swing back just a couple of weeks later with his first ever pole position, wouldn't that just silence the doubters? Only one man can deny him. It's the champion, Alex Palou. And guys, how much will Palou just be loose, free this weekend, knowing that title is wrapped up? He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He could just go out and have fun for the last 2 weekends.
Yeah, but he keeps it in such a narrow window mentally all season long, even when he's leading the championship and it's still on the line. Palou is better than anybody in this field at the mental temperament required to execute and focus on the process, not get outside of the box and think about points too much, think about big picture. He is in the moment, and I think he's doing that again this weekend. He told us, James, no celebration yet. We've won the championship, but we will wait till the season is over. This guy wants 10 wins on the season.
And he's got the benefit of that information from Dixon. Dixon 12th in practice, Palou was 2nd. So if he already has that natural offset, a little bit of knowledge from his teammate, again, slow warm-up lap, 151. That's 6 miles an hour slower than Paddle Ward.
Saving those Firestones for when it matters. And look at the tracker, Will.
Oh my, he's ahead, and not just by a bit, by 1.5 car lengths. Alex Palou, 163.297 for lap 1.
How is this man human? How?
He'll see that speed on his dash, and he'll be so excited, rubbing his hands together. 2 corners to go to keep it up and take pole here at Milwaukee.
Out of the last corner, up towards the line. Alex Palou is already the champion for this year, and he smashes away. Pole position, 162.9. Wow!
Poet in 2025. There is no beating Alex Palou.
Even he can't believe it. Unbelievable.
Oh, wow. So close for David Malukas. His time will come, but for now he will have to wait. Georgia with the man who so nearly made it to pole.
And he had to patiently wait through all of that to see his fate ultimately taken by the champion, Alex Palou. Nonetheless, such a strong run for the team.
Yeah, I mean, before he went out, I mean, I told you, I was like, you know, he's looked fast in practice 1, you know, he's going to be the one to beat. And yeah, as soon as I saw that first lap, I saw him come out of 4, and I was like, all right, that one looked pretty good. But honestly, really good. Again, we're going to be starting on that front row here at Milwaukee, so it's on a good streak for us, and we can still do a lot from up there.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Well, the NTT P1 award winner is Alex Palou, who gets out to celebrate with his team. Inevitable, come on. As it always has been in 2025 for this guy. There is no denying him in 2025, but so close for David Malukas. Pato O'Ward and Scott McLaughlin start on the 2nd row of the grid. Dixon will take a penalty, so Power will be elevated to 5th, along with Carl Kirkwood starting 6th. What a grid we have set up for tomorrow's race. Coming up next, Indy NXT qualifying at 3:30 Eastern. Your race comes your way, 5:30. Final practice today.
Yeah, we'll be back later on. It is pole position for Alex Palou. See you later.